Hi. Okay, so today we're going to start our advanced album, and we're going to start by making the spine and the cover and then covering those. We're going to put those together. So some of the materials that you're going to need, I have a guillotine, and it's a Tim Holtz tonic guillotine. And I use this to cut my chipboard, and I have really enjoyed this because it has taken a lot of pressure off of my hands and my wrist. I sprained my wrist one time getting ready for a class, and so it has really helped. I don't have to use as much pressure. So I'm going to put this aside for now, and we'll grab it in just a minute when we're ready to cut. The other things that you're going to need, I'll talk to you about this in a minute. You're going to need your art glitter glue because we're going to do a lot of gluing. You're going to need your bone folder, and for those of you who have the cut and score board, your little blue knife is a bone folder. You don't have to have a special bone folder for this. You can use that. Okay, and I have several rulers. Those are 3 of them, and then for me, when I measure my chipboard, I like to use this big one. It's an OmniGrid. It's a quilt ruler, and it's got glue on it. You can see, but I can clean it up nice. This is really nice. You can get all of your measurements perfectly. So I'm going to put that aside for now while I show you the other rulers. I have another OmniGrid. It's a smaller one, and I like these because when you're measuring, it has marks for 1/4, half, 3/4, an inch, and then you can put things like at the top of your paper. If you want a 1/2 inch, you can put it on the 1/2 inch line and then mark your paper. So I really like this one. I have other quilt rulers, but I don't need those. I also have a metal ruler, which is very handy. I'm sorry, my asthma is really yucky today. And this comes in handy too, so I'm going to put that aside for now. And then the other thing, which is nice, but it's not necessary, because I'm a librarian, I love all my bookmaking tools, and this is one of them. It is a binder to make for when we do the corners of our books, and it gives you a little bit of a margin for when we do the corners, and I'll show you how to use this. You don't need this. You can actually use any ruler that you have to do this. So this is not necessary. It's just something that's kind of nice. Excuse me. So then we're going to need 3 pieces of cardstock. This is 85-pound cardstock. And then we're going to need, let me put this over here. We're going to need 3 pieces of chipboard, and this is the 0.57 chipboard. It's a medium weight, so we need 3 of those. Okay, so I was showing you this. This is called a self-healing mat, and a lot of girls use them for quilting. When I was quilting, I was using one. And this is really nice if you want to cut your chipboard with this. It's a little bit hard on the hands, but it's very easy to use. And so you will need not only the self-healing mat, but you'll also need a rotary knife. And so what I would do if I were using my self-healing mat is I would go ahead and line up. For example, we're making 8 by 8, and I'll show you the sizes in a minute. And then I would take my knife and I would roll it several times until this was cut. So this is an option if you don't have the guillotine. This is really nice. I don't recommend scissors. Scissors just kind of, they're not the best idea. This little mat is from Kia. I love it because it's like a silicone mat, and I have glue and all kind of yuckies on here, and someday I'll throw it away when it gets too bad, and then I'll buy another one. And of course this is my honey, so I keep him under here to remind me that I do lots of things for him. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get my guillotine, and I have to move my chair out so that I can stand. So the first thing that I will do is I will take my ruler, and even though I'm using a guillotine, I actually go ahead and use the ruler. And I have a pencil. So let me show you the sizes that we need. We need 2 that are 8 inches by 8 inches. And then we need 1 that is 8 inches by 3.5 inches. So I'm going to start with my 8 inches. And I mark them first. So I get everything lined up just about as perfect as I can. And I will mark it. I will turn it and mark it 8 inches again. Okay, so I don't know if you can see my marks. They're a little bit hard on the black, so that's 1. So we need 2 of those. So I will mark it perfect. Of course, as perfect as I can get it. And then I will turn it and I will mark 8 again. Okay, there's the second one. And now we need an 8 by 3.5. I'm going to do the 3.5 first. Save a little bit of chipboard. There's 3.5. And then we need 8 inches. Okay, so you can see that's marked. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away for now. And I usually keep those hung up on my wall so they don't get warped. They're pretty sturdy. And then I'm going to get my guillotine out. So what I will do is I will line up my pencil marks. Be careful with your fingers, do not cut. And this actually comes with a finger guard, but I've taken it off because I don't like it. As teachers, we use the old-fashioned ones that would cut an arm off, but so I have learned to be very careful. So I will keep my chipboard extras, especially something this big, because I can probably use that for a spine sometime. It's not big enough for this spine. So I will line this up. That'll get pitched because it's too small for anything. There's my first 8 by 8. Save that one. So I've had this for a little while and I've noticed that it is getting a little dull on the blade, and guillotines cannot be sharpened. These kind cannot be sharpened. So there will come a day when I am going to go ahead and look at, they have some self-sharpening blade guillotines. They're a little bit more pricey, but as much as I do, I'm going to go ahead and invest in one. Like I said, it has really saved my hands. And okay, so this is very close. There's just a few little extras and it will not show on our project. So I'm going to put that aside. The next thing that we need for the cover, we need 3 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and this is an 85-pound cardstock. And so I have 3 of them. Now I will explain why I leave my self-healing mat. I don't think you can, well maybe you can. I can see through this top layer the silicone. And so in order for me to get this very, very straight, I pick a line and I line it up on the top here. Yep, there we go. Let me put my pin in my shirt. You girls know how obsessive I am about that. And I'm going to go ahead and put, oh, maybe a 1/2 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch of glue on this side. And then I will take the second piece and I'm going to go ahead and line it up on that line. Didn't quite line up the way I had hoped. I'm going to put just a little bit more glue on there. Okay, I moved it. Okay, there we go. That's better. And then I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down. And this is where the glue comes in on my board. And it really just wipes away mostly. And so you can see it popped out there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down really well, burnish it, and then I'm going to try and take as much of that excess off as I can. You can actually just run your finger over it if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm actually going to put it right here. And just like when I cut, I line it up on both my lines this way and this way so that I get a good square. And I always have glue that hangs over the edges. That's why I really like this little Kia mat. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up. And I think I moved it again, which is not terribly unusual. There we go. Nice, perfect line. And so I will go ahead. Perfect for me. Turn it over and burnish again because this is where my glue comes out. Okay, so now we have this beautiful, beautiful large piece. It's about 25, probably 25 inches this way and 11 this way. So basically what we're going to do, that's not going to show, is we're going to go ahead and put, just like we did with our basic album, we're going to go ahead and put these just like that. And I will use my spacer. I have a spacer. I've glued this together. It's actually 2, which for a big album like this, I like that. Okay, so I know that I have a little extra space. I'm going to move this up to the top, just about in line, and I'm going to measure. I have 3 inches, so I want to divide that by 2 so that I have the same amount on top and bottom, which for me, that's 1.5 inches. So I will put my ruler there, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on the back of this. And I will hold my ruler so that it doesn't jiggle around. And I'm going to center it between the middle page. And push it up against my ruler. And I think I've gotten it. Yep, pretty good, pretty close. It's not always perfect, but it's pretty close. Okay. You can also draw a line 1/2 inch down if you want to be exact, because this side with all of your chipboard is going to get hidden. And that's not quite straight, so I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, there we go. So I might use my bigger ruler to kind of put up against this one so that I have, yeah, you can see it's not straight. It's all right. Close enough. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this one well. Issues with my glue yesterday, and I think it's because I dragged my glue tip across this, so I'm trying to be a little bit more careful with that. Okay, so I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to hold this in place, and what's nice about having a ruler here is you can actually see where you have 1/8 of an inch, and then I will put, yep, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And that's what I used. I used my ruler, keeping this straight, but also it gave me a measure in here. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish this down. I have some glue sticking out, and then I use just the flat part of my bone folder and rub it the whole way across, making sure that I get all the glue pushed in. What I like about the bone folder doing this is it helps the glue to spread so you don't have glumps. Although with the art glitter glue, you don't see glumps. You just, it blends in fairly well, but this helps it, and it also helps it to adhere a little better. So I'm going to flip this, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. I will put my ruler here. And I'm lining up the 9" with this line and making it flat across the top. And then I'll go ahead and put my glue on. Yeah, I had a terrible time with my glue yesterday, and I'm usually good about every once in a while cleaning out my tip with hot water and letting it soak, but I just had something stuck. I had to get a toothpick, I had to run my needle down there, I really had to work at it. So I'm going to go ahead and look for my 1/8 of an inch, put it there, put this here. Yep. Okay, I will check it with my, oh, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Take my bone folder, push it all down, and I am going to try and get that glue out of there because I don't want it to stick. Okay, I'm going to flip it and do the same on this side. Do my bone folder to get it pushed down really well. Okay, so there we have it. Now, we have some excess on both sides. Sometimes I might cut that off to 1.5 inches. Let's see where 1.5 inches is. Oh, we only have like 3/4 of an inch. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to let it on there. It won't hurt anything. It's going to get covered by pretty tape. So I'm going to pull this in so you can see. And I will get my pencil and my little square. So this has vertical and horizontal lines, and I will try to make those lines match up with the very corner of my chipboard, and then I will draw a line across it. And you can see I have kept my line just a little bit away from my corner, just like that. And we will find out why after we get ready to glue our sides down. I'll do it on the bottom here. Okay, and I'm going to flip it, and I will show you, if you have just a ruler, any kind of ruler, the metal one, the clear see-through, what you can do is you can kind of eyeball it and draw your line so that it's about 1/8 of an inch away from the very corner. So you don't need one of these fancy little tools. It's not necessary. It is nice, but it's not necessary. So I have that lined up. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this bottom corner. So I have all of my lines drawn, and the next thing you'll want to do is have your scissors and go ahead, and I have glue on my scissors. Diana Schmidt is very good about keeping her scissors clean. You'll see her. She has beautiful nails, so she takes her nails and digs the glue off of her scissors. I'm not so good about that. Ooh, naughty, naughty girl. Okay, so I have those two cut out. I'm going to turn it and cut out these ones. Now, if I were making a smaller album, I would go ahead and cut this. And usually on a smaller album, I just have 1 inch rather than 1.5 inches. But since this is a bigger album, it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to look funny. Okay, so I'll put my scissors away over here. So there we have it. So the very next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and take my bone folder, and you can use either one, and I'm going to slip the solid side under here, and I'm going to work myself across, pulling up my paper and pushing it towards my chipboard so that it gets a little bit of a crease. And then I will work my way over, just like that. Okay, I will do the same on this bottom, or top as it is now. And you want to make sure that you don't go too fast with this, otherwise you get just a mess. And then once I have it, I will start folding it down towards my chipboard. There we go. And then the last two sides I do are the sides, and I do the same thing when I'm gluing. I do the long sides first, and then I will do the short sides. This is just a little bit long, but that's okay. All right. And I will do this one. I'm a librarian, so this is one of the first classes I took many, many years ago when I was doing my MLS. So there we have it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start on the long side. And I am going to put a bead of glue right in the corner between the chipboard and my black paper. And then I'm going to put a bead, along the edge. And I shouldn't go so fast, I would get it a lot neater. And then I'm going to kind of fill in here with glue. And I work a little bit quickly because the art glitter glue does dry a little faster. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I will push it up to my edge, and then I will start folding it over. Try to get the center down first, because then it's easier to get these edges. Okay. And I am going to burnish that really well. And before we move to the other side, this is what happens because we left that little extra. Some of it got folded over. I will take my knife, my bone folder, and I will push it towards my chipboard while pushing down, and then I will push out so that that little tail gets attached to this piece. And this makes a really nice corner on your book. Makes it look very professional. So I'm pushing that way, and then I'm pushing there. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do before I do the other side is I'm going to put my corner in these cracks and slowly pull this up while pushing that so that it will move. It will go ahead and let me get that burnish down better. It didn't go very well. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Push it in. Keep pushing in a little bit. And there we go. Okay. So then we're going to do the same thing on the top. Do the crevice between the chipboard and the paper. Make your line here. And then fill it in. And I don't fill it in entirely, I just kind of do zigzags because, like I said, this art glitter glue, once you use your bone folder, it will kind of push it, smish it out a little bit. Okay, so we'll start the same way we did when we folded the paper. We will bring it up against the edge, and then we will start to roll it over, and I'm going to start in the center. Since this is so big, kind of helps to start in the center. Some of the smaller albums, it doesn't matter. Okay, that doesn't want to be nice. So I'm going to really take my other bone folder and push it, but there we go. Okay, and again, we're going to do the corners. Push down and towards the chipboard, and then bring it that way. And oops, the same on this one. Down and towards the chipboard. And I get a nice bead. Okay. And again, we're going to do, that corner's already done. We're going to do between our spine. There's one. Oh, nice, very nice. Okay, so then we're going to do our short ends. And it's just like doing our top. We will put our bead of glue, and then we will do a bead of glue on the outside. And then we're going to fill in. I'm going to go this way so I don't... Okay, and we're going to use our bone folder, push it up to your chipboard first, and then over. And because this one isn't as long, it goes just a little bit nicer. I'm going to use this bone folder to push it all down very well. And see, you have made a very nice covered corner. Some albums, they don't have the very corner covered. But this is more of a, it looks more professional, like a book. Let's do this side. We're going to go ahead and put our bead, and I didn't get much in there. Push, oops, and push over, and then I will burnish all of this down, rubbing away the excess glue. I do not worry about this art glitter glue because it's clear and it dries really beautifully. Okay, so the final thing I will do is I will take my bone folder and I will rub it across the top. Kind of makes it a nice crisp edge. I will rub it across my bottom. I will do my sides. And there you have it. That is your album. Okay, so our next lesson, we're going to learn how to put our hinge in. And then we will move on to papers. But gosh, doesn't that look pretty? And this is a bigger album than our basic album, the first album we did. And so this takes a little bit more work, and the pages are very fancy, very beautiful. Okay, I hope you have liked this. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you come back for our next class. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.